got the garage door open. Sorry about the glare. It's hot out, so I'm trying to just get a little bit of air. So I'm gonna pilot drill this with a 1/4 inch to start with, and then we're gonna take it up to 1/2 inch. I'm getting low on coolant here. Okay, we're back at it. We're going to have to regrind these drill bits probably after each hole. It's drilling, but not that great. All right, that's deep enough. Spray bottle's having a problem. Alright, hold on. Well, no sooner did I get my spray bottle working, doggone power went out. Oh, well, I guess I'll go in and get something cold to drink. Luckily, I had the garage door shut because I had to get up there where my spare spray bottles were. So at least the door's shut. Jeez. Okay, power is back on. Let's see if we can finish this one before we lose power again. I don't know what's going on. Probably just doing some kind of maintenance work. Okay, make sure it's locked. All right, we're good to go. Yeah, this stuff's pretty tough, so it's fighting me a little bit. Should make a good drill bushing though. Alright, that's the bottom of the pilot hole. Should be deep enough for one. And put a little chamfer on there. This parting tool is a Manchester separator. I'll tell you what, it really works good. That's just there. 0RZ. We're going to come in 1 inch. Little bird to knock off. So I got 4 of these bushings made up, and what they are, they're just going to be drill bushings for 1/2-inch nominal drill, and we made them out of this shaft material. I got a bunch of these scrap shafts. They're actually out of a Volvo outdrive. They go between the upper gearbox and the lower gearbox. Here's what's left of the one that we were working on, and I didn't anneal it or anything. It's pretty dang tough. I'm guessing something like Rockwell C30 as far as the hardness. It was a little tough going machining. The inner core was a little softer, but still pretty hard. But high-speed steel was able to go through. So what these are templates for a local chapter of a volunteer organization, and that's called Sleep in Heavenly Peace, and they're a nationwide kind of a charity organization for low-income families and such, and their motto is no child sleeps on the floor in my town. Okay, so in a nutshell, what they do is they build beds for kids. And anybody can apply to get one of these beds. They've got a website, I'll put a link to it. And so far they've built like 250,000 beds for kids, which is pretty amazing. It's almost all volunteer labor. And what they'll do is they'll put together a work day. It's a pretty clever design that they have. It relies on just standard dimensional lumber, 2x4s, 2x6s, 1x4s, and with a series of templates, drilling operations, and so forth, they actually come up with a really nice bed. And it's a dual purpose. It can be a single bed, or it can be a bunk bed. And that's where these templates come in. These are the ones when the headboard assemblies are all done. These templates go on top, and they center up in a line a couple drill holes for half-inch drill holes, or half-inch bit, for guide pins that lock the upper and lower section of the bunk bed together. Okay, so this one I don't think has ever been used. This one's still unused. This one went through a session where they built, I believe you said it was 300 beds. And the holes are already wallered out considerably. So we're going to fix that with these bushings. Still got to just weld them on there. Yeah, so it's my neighbor's heavily involved in this, and he's roping me into helping out as well. I think we're going to do a build session possibly this weekend, so we'll see. But yeah, I told him, hey, if you guys have any type of metal work, or you need help with these templates, just let me know. I can do this kind of stuff, no problem. So that's what this is. Let me just show you a close up. Then I'm going to weld these on, and we'll just take a quick look when it's all done. I think these were made just by a local welding shop, and I'm pretty sure that they just donated these. But you can see how wallered out that already is from just one building session. Yeah, so all we're going to do, we're just going to, this one I'm going to have to be a little careful of how we line it up, but this one will be easy. I'll probably just put a bolt through there when I weld it. And I'm just going to do a couple of stitch welds. I don't want to distort these too bad. Okay, done. Yeah, I didn't put a lot of weld on there. I didn't want to take a chance of distorting those bushings. So there you go. I think that's going to work for him. A little bit of experimenting with the laser engraver. I'm a total newbie to this. I used it to lay out the hole pattern, and this is going to be for a little 5C collet mini rack for the hex collets. Yeah, I know this is sacrilege, but I used a Forstner bit on the mill to cut the holes in the wood. Got to make some little attaching brackets, but it's going to go something like this next to the regular collet rack. And if you're wondering what I've been using for material, this is just old hardwood flooring. I got a bunch of this stuff. This is the old school 1/4 inch red oak by 2 inch hardwood flooring strips. All right, well, there it is. I am happy with the way that turned out. That's awesome. I gave it a little bit of linseed oil just to give it some finish. And I think I'm going to go ahead and make one for this side also, but not today. All right. Well, this one was a bit of a fail. I mean, it's still going to function fine, but I messed up on the sizing sequence. And I also had the settings wrong for the laser power. So I didn't notice it started to burn through here. Then I stopped and I changed the setting, and damage was already done. Anyways, that's going to work. Apparently the Chinese have a special size square collet here. So if you ever need a 16 by 5, we got one. Obviously they got their numbering flip-flopped. All right.